Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you. When judgment comes for you. Tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you. Cause it's gonna come for you.
Looking at for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guys got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling flows like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm playing for dust, and they play too deep for beats. Little legs I came to be. Tell me if feature the seats, would it please? Marry me by my grand, when you can go follow.
God bless you, working on a plan to hit.
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on December the 8th to Collision on December the 13th, as well as Saturday night's main event. We open with Raw. We get a long recap of the Last Time Is Now tournament with Gunther defeating LA Knight in the finals on the previous week's SmackDown. Gunther then comes out to cut a promo. He's looking forward to facing Cena, who is the greatest sports entertainer of all time. The problem is he is facing the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Gunther then puts a countdown clock up for Cena's final match. He says, but just beating Cena isn't enough. The thing is, Cena is the one who never gives up, but Gunther is ready to break him and make him give up. He's going to drain him of his spirit and make him give up, like I just said. So Gunther laying out the challenge that he is going to make Cena tap or give up in his final match. We then get a recap of last week's chaos with the women's tag team titles as the Judgment Day end up on top and want the championships. We then get a match between Io Sky and Kairi Sane. Io gets the win via pinfall following the over the moonsault. We then go to Logan Paul. He wants the Vision to get rid of Rey Mysterio after last week. He's willing to be the Vision's backup as well, and Paul Heyman gives him the brass knuckles that he always has just in case he needs them. We then get a video for the War Raiders, who will be challenging for the tag team titles later on. We then are supposed to get a Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor match, but it never gets started as Logan Paul comes out and starts beating down Rey until Rey is able to throw him out of the ring. We then get the Masked Man from Survivor Series comes out and hits the stomp on Rey. This allows Logan Paul to come out and continue to beat down Rey Mysterio. Security then chases the Masked Man off, and LA Knight actually runs in to save Rey from Logan Paul and ask for a match with Logan Paul later tonight. We then get our tag team title match where AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defeat the War Raiders when AJ hits a phenomenal forearm on Ivar. After the match, New Day, who had been ringside, come in for a stare down, but then the Usos come in through the crowd as well. They do the whole yeet thing, and then they run it back, and then the Usos make it clear that they are back in the tag team division. Last week, Jimmy asked Jay what they were going to do after Jay's recent issues. Jay says it's time to get back to them and put the tag team division on notice. The Usos are ready to get gold back, and they'll beat up the New Day if they have to in the process. The New Day all get taken out and bail, and Styles and Lee then kind of have a face-off with the Usos. So that's obviously a match we'll probably see pretty soon in the near future. So we then get Stephanie Vaquer. She comes out to cut a promo. She wants to face everyone and doesn't talk too much because she speaks through her actions. Nikki Bella might be a legend, but things are different than they were 15 years ago. Vaquer lists off some stars of today, but she says that she is at the top of that list. Nikki Bella then comes out and she demands a rematch, but Raquel Rodriguez runs in to take out Bella, and Raquel says she is coming for the title and is next in line. We then get a video of John Cena's history at WrestleMania and how successful he was and how many title matches he was in and all that good stuff. We then go to the Judgment Day Clubhouse. They're having a good night, but Liv Morgan isn't happy with Raquel going for the singles championship instead of her, obviously. Raquel didn't know that they had to run everything by Liv, but she's off to talk to Adam Pearce about getting her a title shot. Liv then says that she and Roxanne can be the next women's tag team champions instead, which seems to be kind of surprising to Roxanne, as Roxanne, I'm not sure, realizes that Liv doesn't really like her all that much. Even Roxanne may think that as well. We then get Roxanne in a match. She defeats Lyra Valkyria via pinfall following Pop Rocks. We then go to another training video with Maxine Dupree training with Natalia. It's very intense training, and Maxine Dupree continues to persevere and actually manages to make Natalia tap to an ankle lock. We then get our match where Logan Paul and LA Knight take on each other. Logan Paul wins via pinfall when the Masked Man once again appears and attacks LA Knight, allowing Paul to hit a frog splash to get the big win. After the match, Braun comes out, hits a super spear, and Bronson Reed hits a pair of tsunamis. We then come back from break, and the Vision is still in the ring. Heyman mocks Kansas City before saying that Braun Breaker will win the world title on January 5th. Breaker wants to know where CM Punk is, but he means where is the old Punk that Breaker saw for years. Punk presents himself as this great guy, but he's just a fraud. He spent years preaching about being straight edge, but now he looks like the biggest crackhead alive. Breaker knows he can beat Punk, but he wants the old Punk, not this crappier, older version. He wants the 2011 to 2013 Punk, who was a feared man and was a champion for most of the time during that period. Breaker gets on his knees and begs the old Punk to be there, or it's going to be bad. We then see LA Knight. We come back from break, and Heyman mocks Kansas City before saying that Braun Breaker will win the world title on January 5th. Breaker wants to know where CM Punk is, but he means where is the old CM Punk that Breaker saw for years. Punk presents himself as this great guy, but he's just a fraud. He spent years preaching about being straight edge, and now he looks like the biggest crackhead ever. Breaker knows that he can beat Punk, so he wants the old Punk. He wants the 2011 to 2013 Punk, who was a world champion and was a feared man. Braun then gets down on his knees and begs for the old Punk to be there, or it's going to be bad for him. We then see LA Knight getting up in the back, so Logan Paul and Bronson Reed go after him. As Breaker says it's going to be spear 1, 2, 3. Knight tries to fight back, but gets powerbombed through a table. Reed then drops Knight onto the hood of a car, and then he jumps off some cases and hits a tsunami on top of said car and absolutely crushes Knight. And then Adam Pearce comes in to yell at the Vision to end the show. So a pretty intense ending there to end Raw. But as far as best match on Raw for me, I would go with the tag title match between the War Raiders and AJ and Dragon Lee. So definitely check that one out. But a pretty solid Raw up top to bottom. We then go to NXT. We get a long deadline recap, as it had obviously been the previous weekend. We get the new NXT champion, Oba Femi, coming out to cut a promo. Femi talks about how this title is power. Ricky Saints took the title off him at No Mercy and knocked the ruler off of his throne, but now things are back as they should be. When you look at him, you will see power and the ruler, but then before he can continue, Ricky Saints comes out and interrupts. Saints is able to admit that Femi was the better man at Deadline, but he's not about to just bow down. Now Saints is betting on himself and undoing all the mistakes. They are 1-1, and now Saints wants one more match for the championship. We then get Javon Evans coming out. We get reminded that he won the Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline. He's locked in right now, so how about him and Oba go for the NXT title tonight instead of at New Year's Evil? Ricky Saints tries to talk him out of it, but Evans wants to do it tonight, and then Femi isn't about to back down, so the match is set as our main event for the NXT Championship, Javon Evans versus Oba Femi. We then get a recap of Kalani Jordan and her kind of heel turn over the last few months and kind of losing favor with the fans and all that stuff. We then go to Tatum Paxley. She is ready to take care of the culling until it is just her and Izzy one-on-one, even though they've pretty much already faced each other. So, but she's going to try to pick them off one by one, I guess is what she's trying to say. We then get Kalani Jordan. She defeats Jordan Grace via pinfall following a 450 splash. We come back from commercial, and Jordan Grace complains to the women's locker room. But Thea Hale gives her a pep talk, and it doesn't go well, but she did try to kind of hype her back up. We then go to Blake Monroe. She comes out for her open challenge. A very overzealous Thea Hale comes out and answers the open challenge and grabs a Kimura lock and actually makes her tap, but there was no ref and the bell hadn't rung yet, so the match never happens, and Monroe bails to the back before anything else can go further. We then get Shiloh Hill before his debut, gives a scientific explanation for being nervous heading into his first match. But he does, however, remember to put his teeth in. So they actually have given him a new tooth, a new fake tooth to kind of put in his gap. Even though I think that's kind of one of the better parts of his gimmick is the fact that he has the front tooth just completely knocked out. So hopefully he doesn't do that all that often, or it becomes a gimmick where it's like it comes out every match, like the strap comes down or something. We then get Shiloh Hill debuting. He defeats Lexus King via pinfall, following a belly to back neck breaker. We then go to Obafemi. He's in the back. He cuts a promo, is ready for Javon Evans tonight, and also to face Cody Rhodes on Saturday at Saturday Night's Main Event. We then get Ethan Page come out to cut a promo. He talks about how he's been winning over and over because he made sure to learn as much as he could from anyone who's given him any guidance. Now we're going to watch John Cena walk away this weekend, and someone is going to have to take his place. Ethan Page won the NXT title recently in the last year or so. Now he's making the North American title that much more important. He's the biggest superstar around, but the lights go out. We see the kind of video we saw at Deadline, and Tony D'Angelo comes up from behind him and lays him out with a big spine buster. So Tony D seemingly targeting pretty much anybody in the roster. He targeted Javon at Deadline, and he's seemingly targeting Ethan Page here as well. We then go to Ava. She has Dion Lennox, Miles Bourne, Leon Slater, and Joe Hendry in her office. They're all tied at Deadline with one fall apiece, just one behind Javon Evans. So they will have a four-way number one contendership match for the NXT title at New Year's Evil. So they'll basically replace Javon's title match that would have happened at New Year's Evil. Ethan Page then storms in to complain about everything, but eventually gets mocked by Miles and storms off. We then get Sol Ruca. She defeats Ren Sinclair via pinfall following a Soul Snatcher. After the match, Zario comes out to glare, and then Sol leaves through the crowd to try to catch up with her because she kind of left before she could say anything. We then come back from commercial break, and Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair are still in the ring, and Fatal Influence comes in to join. JC Jane says that Gray has done well, but this is as good as it's going to get. Gray's stock is doing well, but her reality is going to slap her in the face at New Year's Evil. Then these people will move on to the next new flavor of the month. Yeah, she's won the Evolve Women's title, but the NXT title is on another level. Jane then brags about herself, but Gray says she's the one with all the momentum. No one is expecting Gray to win, just like no one was expecting JC Jane to win the title in the first place. The best part of being the underdog is seeing people's face when the underdog bites back. Ren Sinclair then suggests she's coming after the women's speed title that Fallon Henley has, and they start to brawl, but the numbers game catches up, and Fatal Influence ends up standing tall. We then go to Hank and Tank. They have been in Pro Wrestling Noah for the last little bit, and they even won their tag team championships, though they have now since lost them, but they were the GHC tag team champions at one point. And then Hank and Tank are back in NXT now, and they're wearing Japanese robes to show that they have been elsewhere, obviously that they've been across the sea in Japan and all that good stuff. We then see OTM. They come in and they want a match with Hank and Tank next week. We then go to Blake Monroe. She is complaining about her open challenge earlier and how she was attacked by Thea before it could even get started. Ava then decides that Thea showed some spunk, and she will get a title match next week against Blake. We then get Sol Ruca and Zarya. They finally kind of make peace and admit that friends fight sometimes, but they seem to be on the same page, despite the fact that they've been on and off the same page for a while. We then look back at Stax becoming the new TNA International Champion at last Friday's Final Resolution pay-per-view that TNA had. And then we get our main event where Obafemi defeats Javon Evans via pinfall following a sit-out fall from Grace Powerbomb. Javon basically had the match won at one point, but Ricky Saints comes out and pulls out the ref, which causes Evans to go after him and eventually leads to the finish. And Saints then after the show kind of menacingly looks at Javon Evans kind of prone body in the ring. So obviously we're headed towards some kind of match between Ricky Saints and Javon Evans. But it's felt like another one of those opportunities where they put Javon Evans in the title match, but they don't quite pull the trigger. Um, it feels like he's kind of probably going to be the stand and deliver challenger for Oba at this point, because I mean, you just got to put the title on him at some point. The crowd wants it. Obviously, he's super over. He's been on the main roster doing stuff a lot lately. He will be on Saturday night's main event that I talk about later. So, I mean, he just seems like, he's not the biggest guy, and obviously Obafemi's a force and a unit. But it just feels like eventually you got to give him the belt, and you've got to put him over somebody like Oba to really cement him as the guy. So, Femi and Evans was absolutely the best match of the card. So definitely go out of your way and check that one out. Anytime Oba gets in the ring, it's usually a pretty solid match, and Javon, I would say, is just the same. So when you get both of them together, it can be magic. Maybe not as good as their previous PLE match, but still a really solid main event for the show. We then go to Dynamite. We get our women's tag team title final to open the show, where the Babes of Wrath, and the upset of all upsets, beat the Timeless Love Bombs when Willow Nightingale hits the Babe with a power bomb on Mina Shirikawa, and the Babes of Wrath are your inaugural women's tag team champions. So Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, your women's tag team champions. After the match, the Babes are very happy, celebrate a lot, but the Timeless Love Bombs get up and shake hands and raise their hands to show some respect. So I had them being eliminated in the first round, and they won the whole damn thing. So what do I know? But happy for Harley, happy for Willow. They are very deserving at the end of the day. So we then go to Samoa Joe. He's with his ops teammates. He is ready to take out Eddie Kingston tonight in their world title match. We then go to John Moxley. He knows his back is against the wall in the Continental Classic, and he's ready to do anything to get a win. We then also get word from Daniel Garcia. He knows that they're willing to fight. He knows that the Death Riders are willing to fight harder than anyone else, which is why they are so great. We then go to a Continental Classic match where Kazuchika Okada defeats Jack Perry via pinfall following the Rainmaker. Jack Perry seemed at points throughout the match to maybe have a legit injury during this match, so we'll see kind of what his status is going forward in the Continental Classic. I think I read where they were going to continue to kind of monitor it. Obviously, he's replacing the already injured Darby Allin, so to lose another person to injury would be kind of crazy, but he seemed to be really favoring his leg at certain points in this match, so we'll see. But Okada wins this match, obviously. Like I said, he is now up to 6 points and is tied with the Gold League lead with 6 points with Kyle Fletcher. Post-match, the Don Callis family come out, and Jack Perry gets up. Don Callis himself offers Perry a spot on the team and a signing bonus as to be paid out of the Young Bucks $1 million that they won at the pay-per-view. Callis threatens him with violence, but Perry says for the second time tonight he's biting off more than he can chew and tries to attack the whole Don Callis family. Luchasaurus and the Young Bucks run in to make the save. Callis hands the Bucks their money and runs, and the Bucks take the money and end up super kicking various members of the Don Callis family until they're completely cleared out. We then get the conglomeration. They celebrate with the Babes of Wrath, even though Roderick Strong still looks absolutely miserable. But obviously Willow's kind of tied in with the conglomeration, so she gets the love and support from her buddies of previous associations and stuff. So we then get a look at Mercedes Moné, recent string of bad luck, obviously losing the ROH TV championship back to Red Velvet. But I mean, I think that's the only loss she's taken, so I don't really know. It was a ton of bad luck, but she has lost one of her belts somewhere along the way. So hopefully it'll continue to be a kind of string of bad luck, because I think that's the way that you kind of eventually get the big belt on her. You have her lose a bunch of these titles that she has, kind of get her down at her lowest point, and then she kind of emerges and rises to the top and gets that world title that's seemingly eluded her so far. We then go to Eddie Kingston. He is nervous watching and realizes it's the anniversary of Terry Funk winning one of his world championship. He knows Funk and his own parents are watching from above, and he doesn't want to get emotional, but he'll bring the fight to Samoa Joe tonight and do his best to become world champion. We then get Mark Briscoe out to cut a promo. He talks about how there are people who didn't think he could win the big one, and they can kiss his big white ass. It's one thing to win a title, it's another to defend that title, and that's what he'll be doing at Collision. Wheeler Yuta and the rest of the Death Riders come in through the crowd to say that Briscoe has more children than teeth. Daniel Garcia says he's going to win the title and to break Briscoe's leg in the process. They start to kind of seem like they're going to fight, but Garcia is held back by the rest of the Death Riders, so nothing gets too physical. We then get the Triangle of Madness. They jump various lady wrestlers in the backstage until Chris Statlander makes the save and runs them off. We then get Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page. They defeat members of the Ops, Shibata and Hobbs, when they hit the Buckshot Lariat and House Call consecutively on Shibata to get the win. We then go to the Don Callis family. He wants the Young Bucks to find a partner and fight them, members of his family, next week for the $1 million. We then go to FTR. They don't like the Bang Bang Gang having delusions of grandeur because they're addicted to the camera. They could have their tag team title match, and then after the loss, it will be time for them to go to the back of the line. We then go to another Continental Classic match where Speedball Bailey is able to defeat Kyle Fletcher via pinfall following a surprise sunset flip. Speedball gains his first 3 points in the Gold League, which gives him a total of 3 points, obviously. And Fletcher stays at 6 points, which is still good enough to stay in first place with Okada. So Kyle kind of suffers an upset loss here, but he remains in first place as of this moment. We then go to Hangman Page. He wants the world title back and is coming for it at World's End. We then get the Young Bucks asking Luchasaurus to be their partner, but he doesn't seem so interested. And then they go to the Kenny Omega instead and says he'll do it for free. He doesn't need the money. And then we go to Samoa Joe defeating Eddie Kingston via submission with the Coquina Clutch. So Samoa Joe does retain. But it was a pretty entertaining match for the most part, a pretty good slugfest. Not a bad way to end the Winter is Coming show for them. But Speedball versus Kyle Fletcher was absolutely the best match of the show. I would say both Continental Classic matches that we talked about were both very good, but I would give the edge to Fletcher and Speedball. We then go to Impact from there. We open with the Final Resolution recap, including Steve Maclin losing his International Championship to Stax from NXT. Frankie Kazarian comes out to host the King's Speech. He is ready to lead TNA into the AMC era and become the face of the network so Walter White can move on over. Kazarian has heard all the fans' hatred and it gives him happiness. You need to get used to it. But here is Mike Santana to interrupt him. After addressing the fans in Spanish, Santana says he respects how Kazarian got the title. At the same time, he's a hot-blooded Latino, so he is pissed off too. Next week, he's in a cage match against the NXT wrestlers, and then he's coming after the title at Genesis on January 17th. Kazarian says no, but Santana says he's coming for the title, whether Kazarian wants him to or not. We then have the NXT guys. They are ready to take out Team TNA, including Matt Cardona. Stax doesn't like Santino Marella getting involved in his relationship with his daughter, Ariana Grace. And next week, he is going to take out the TNA stars as well. We then look at Leon Slater being in last weekend's NXT Iron Survivor match at Deadline. Slater will be in a 4-way, like I said, on NXT for a future NXT Championship match next week on NXT. We then get Lexis King defeating Matt Cardona via pinfall when Stax comes out for a distraction, and King catches Cardona with a surprise roll-up. Post-match, Cardona goes after King, but gets jumped by Stax, and then Steve Maclin makes the save. We then go to Lei Ying Lee and Xia Brookside. They are fine with each other's friendship after their match at Final Resolution. Tessa Blanchard and company then come in with Blanchard saying she wants a title match. Lei Yingli doesn't like Blanchard, but Blanchard doesn't seem to care. So that obviously seems like it'll be a match further down the line. But obviously nothing official was made there. We then go to the Elegance brand of Heather and M by Elegance, defeating Mila Grace and Harley Hudson when Heather is able to reverse a roll-up into one of her own. We then look at Rich Swann snapping and turning on AJ Francis at Final Resolution. Swann then talks about the history with AJ and that he is done being disrespected. Yes, first class is over. So here is AJ Francis to come and jump Swann from behind, kind of leave him laying. We then get a 6-man X Division title shot, kind of number one contendership match, where Cedric Alexander defeats BDE, Desmond Xavier, Jake Something, Ryan Nemeth, and Jason Hotch when he hits the lumbar check on BDE. We then go to the system. They are ready for tonight, but JDC wants to face Eddie Edwards in his final match at Genesis. And Eddie Edwards says it would be an honor and accepts JDC's challenge. We then go to Frankie Kazarian. He complains about facing Mike Santana, so Santino Marella says he can defend the title against the winner of the upcoming Battle Royal in 3 weeks, in addition to facing Santana as well. The NXT guys come up to insult Santino with Ariana Grace slapping Stacks and telling him to watch his mouth when he talks to his father. When he talks to her father that way. We then get the system of Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards defeating Sinner and Saint when Saint gets hit with the roster cut and the Boston Knee Party consecutively. After the match, the system shake hands with Sinner and Saint before we go into our next segment. We then get the Hardys. They come out to cut a promo. Matt says he can feel Eddie Guerrero all around us because they're in El Paso, of course. They beat High Rise at Final Resolution, and they are ready to face Team NXT next week. They have to protect TNA because 2026 is going to be their biggest year ever. We then get the Righteous come out once again. They interrupted them at the pay-per-view, and then they'll come out. They're coming out now with Vincent introducing himself and his partner Dutch. The Hardys know who they are, but don't know why they're here. Vincent praises the team, and Dutch says they're here because of the Hardys. They wish the Hardys luck in the cage match next week, and Dutch declares himself righteous. We then get Santino Marella announcing that Matt Cardona can't compete in the cage match next week, so Santino himself will take his place. And then we get our main event, which is a very, very bloody dog collar match where Danny Luna defeats Indy Hartwell after hitting the lunar landing and getting the win. So Danny Luna gets busted with an absolute gusher. Another kind of maybe indirect tribute to old Eddie Guerrero since they're in El Paso, but she bleeds an absolute gusher. And what was a pretty entertaining dog collar match between these two women. I was very entertained by it, and it was the best match for Impact for sure. But definitely go out of your way to check that one out. It was a little more bloody and hardcore than I was a little expecting between those two. So check that out. We then go to SmackDown. We open with a quick recap of Cody Rhodes wanting to face Drew McIntyre again. Earlier that day, Nick Aldis said he can't get in touch with Drew McIntyre, but he's getting a chance to come here and speak about it face to face. Aldis tells Cody that McIntyre isn't here and he's legally claiming an unsafe work environment. Rhodes then doesn't have time for this and heads to the ring. He goes to the ring. He is not happy with McIntyre's claims and says they're happening because McIntyre is only half in and doesn't really care about being champion. He's likes being like a shit stir a little bit more than that. If it was up to Cody, McIntyre would be fired. But once he says this, Oba Femi comes out to interrupt. Femi praises Rhodes and talks about how you can often see the future a long way off. This time, though, the future is right in front of him, and his time is now. Cody says they both respect John Cena, but he's the man who beat Cena for the WWE Championship. They both then hold up their championships and stare at each other and wrap up a intense little segment there. We then get Fraxium in the back. They tell Ilya Dragunov that they'll have his back tonight against Tommaso Ciampa. Dragunov appreciates the offer but declines because this is his responsibility. John Cena introduced the U.S. Open Challenge, and Dragunov is carrying on its history, and he will do so alone, like John Cena did all those times. We then get Ilya Dragunov defeating Tommaso Ciampa via pinfall when he reverses a fairy tale ending into a cradle for 3. After the match, Ciampa and Gargano jump Dragunov and start beating him down until Carmelo Hayes, of all people, come out and make the save. We then get Javon Evans. He is asked about his match tomorrow night on Saturday night's main event. Miz then interrupts, saying he doesn't even know why we're talking about Javon Evans. That doesn't work for Javon, who wants a match against Miz tonight, and Miz says he'll go talk to Nick Aldis right now. We then get the Wyatt Six. They come out to cut a promo. Uncle Howdy doesn't like Solo Sikoa casting judgment on his family, and it's interesting that Sikoa's real family has turned on him. If Sikoa wants the tag team titles, to come get them. Sikoa and his MFTs pop up on the screen. Says they're coming for the WWE tag team titles next week. The Wyatts are given the option to give them up early because otherwise the only options they're going to have is to run. The WWE tag team titles seem to be on the line next week between some members of the Wyatt Six and some members of the MFTs. We'll see who exactly it is. We then go to Charlotte Flair. She gives Alexa Bliss a pep talk before her match, but Rhea Ripley comes in to suggest that she and Io are coming for the women's tag team titles instead. But Alexa and Charlotte don't think that that's going to be the case because they think they're first in line. We then get some celebrities congratulating John Cena on his retirement and, just kind of hype him up, talk about how great of a superstar he is and that he's the GOAT of WWE and all that good stuff. We then go to Lash Legend. She defeats Alexa Bliss via pinfall following the Lash extension. We then go to Aleister Black and Zelina. They are ready for Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest in our main event tonight. We are then told that SmackDown is going back to 3 hours on January 2nd. Boo. But I guess I get it for ad revenue and all that stuff. We then get a video on Leon Slater and Javon Evans, kind of hyping them up as a tag team and obviously hyping up the match with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee tomorrow night on Saturday night's main event. We then get Javon Evans' match where he defeats The Miz via pinfall following the OG cutter. We then go to Nia Jax and Lash Legend. They mock Rhea Ripley in the back, who obviously isn't intimidated by either of them. Damian Priest then comes in to say that he likes the intensity from Rhea, who didn't back down from Nia or Lash. And then Priest kind of walks off, and Rhea turns around, and Jade Cargill is standing there, and they kind of have a stare off from there. We then get Michin. She doesn't like bullies, and she wants to fight Jade Cargill, who jumps Michin from behind to leave her laying. Cargill comes to the ring to say that that's what happens when you step up to her. So Michin comes out with a kendo stick. Naturally, she loads up a table but gets kicked in the face for her efforts. Cargill then hits a choke slam and leaves Michin laying to end the segment. We then get another video to kind of highlight all the stuff that happened in the Last Time Is Now tournament, with Gunther being the winner, as well as some of the surprises we had along the way and some of the results and all that good stuff. So just kind of a big recap of that. We then get a video on Obafemi, kind of hyping him up, who he is, that he's the NXT champion, that he's been ruling NXT the last couple of years. And then we get our main event where the Terror Twins of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest defeat Zelina and Aleister Black when Rhea hits the Riptide on Zelina. That match could have been a lot better. It was pretty botch-tastic towards the end. Rhea and Zelina had a couple of spots that didn't look particularly great, but I was kind of disappointed in that main event. But as far as best match, Ciampa versus Dragunov was definitely it. Kind of just a kind of a way to continue to hype Saturday night's main event. They had a good amount of matches and stuff, but nothing got just a ton of time. And like I said, that main event was kind of disappointing. But we'll go from there to Collision. We look at Hangman Page's comments on Dynamite about how he's coming for the world title at World's End. We get Swerve Strickland in the first match defeating Josh Alexander via pinfall after hitting a house call and JML driver. After the match, Swerve says he wants the world title back and he wants to take the belt once again from Samoa Joe. So they don't particularly announce it until the end of the show, I don't think, but we're looking at a three-way match at World's End between Paige, Strickland, and Samoa Joe. We then get video on the Elite versus the Don Callis family for the $1 million coming up on Dynamite. We then go to the Timeless Love Bombs. They are going to be in the ring for the Babes of Wrath's championship toast later on. We then get Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter. They defeat the Sisters of Sin when Hayter hits Haterade on Julia Hart. After the match, Hayter challenges Statlander for the women's world title at World's End, and Statlander seems to accept. We then get a Continental Classic match where Claudio Castagnoli and Konosuke Takeshita go to a time limit draw. So both guys get 1 point, and they were already tied for first, but they remain tied at the top of the Blue League with 7 points. After the match, they continue to beat each other up until the referees are able to break it up. The Death Riders and Don Callis family eventually come out and have to be the ones that separate them apart. We then get Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey. They are ready to fight later on in their Continental Classic match and want the other to bring it as hard as they can. We then get the Babes of Wrath out for their celebration. They talk about making history together. They met early in Harley's time with the company, and before they can get much further, the Timeless Love Bombs come out. They're happy to have given the Babes a fight to remember, but again, they're interrupted, this time by Mercedes Moné. Mina Shirakawa tells Moné to shut the hell up, but Moné doesn't want to fight any of them tonight. She'll have some friends this week in Manchester for Dynamite, and she'll see them then, which prompts Tony Storm to say, we'll raise a glass and we'll wax your ass. And then Mercedes isn't sure how to take that and leaves. We then get Ricochet. He says he's entering the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, and he says he's going to go on to win it and win the world title. We then get video of the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal and its previous incarnations with various other people saying that they're entering. We get MVP saying that Bobby Lashley is injured, so Shelton Benjamin will be the one representing the Hurt Syndicate in the match. We then go to the Continental Classic match between Bailey and Knight, where Bailey defeats Kevin Knight via pinfall, following a Flamingo driver. Speedball now has 6 points, and that actually ties him for the Gold League lead with Okada and Fletcher at 6 points. So we have a three-way tie atop the Gold League. We then go to Kyle Fletcher. He is ready for Pac in the Continental Classic and promises to get his momentum back in the tournament. We then get Pac's perspective, says he is a different breed, and Fletcher will soon learn that that's the case. And then we get our TNT Championship match where Mark Briscoe defeats Daniel Garcia via pinfall, following the Jay Driller to end the show. So Mark Briscoe retains in a big win. But as far as best match for Collision, I would go with Takeshita and Castagnoli. I'm not I'm not usually a fan of ties or draws, but I think it kind of exceeded Bailey and Knight in time given, and I think they just beat the shit out of each other for the most part, honestly, and it was pretty back and forth and entertaining. So I would go with that one for sure. And then we go to our final show of the week, which is Saturday night's main event. We open with Triple H narrating a video about Cena's career, talking about how he is the greatest of all time in a variety of ways, in ring as well as out of the ring, doing all the great charity work that he's done throughout the years, and being a pretty good actor when he's in the roles that he's been given throughout the years. So talking about how he's not only a great in the ring, but out of the ring as well. We then have our hosts, Joe Tessitore and Stephanie McMahon, kind of hyping up the shows and the matches we have ahead. They're kind of hosting from the crowd while Barrett and Michael Cole are at commentary. We then have our opening match where Cody Rhodes defeats Opa Femi, but it's via disqualification when Drew McIntyre comes in and attacks Cody. After the match, Femi is pissed at Drew McIntyre for interfering and eventually shoves him down, which has McIntyre kind of scurry afterwards. Cody and Femi, and then after that, show a bit of respect and shake hands. We then get some graphics showing Cena's career stats, all the championships he's won, all the stuff that he's done, how many victories he's gotten on TV, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to go into it every time, but they would cut to superstars kind of sharing memories, sharing thoughts, sharing love for Cena, as well as some celebrities and, just like old wrestlers, current wrestlers, all that stuff. So I'm not going to go into that every time it happens, but it happens throughout the show. They really center it around Cena and do a pretty good job of that throughout the night. We then go to Solruka defeating Bailey via pinfall when she reverses a roll-up, when she reverses a Bailey roll-up into one of her own. Again, after the match, they show respect and shake and raise each other's hands. We then go to our tag team title match where AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defeat Leon Slater and Javon Evans when AJ reverses a top rope Hurricane Rana from Slater and hits the Styles Clash off of that. We then go to Testator and Stephanie in the crowd. They're very emotional about Cena because his match is coming up soon. The Miz shows up in the ring and starts to complain how he was ignored during John Cena's retirement tour, though he was one of Cena's greatest rivals, according to himself. He then he talks about how he beat Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, wearing the exact gear that he is wearing tonight. So R-Truth comes out to interrupt. He's obviously doing his John Cena cosplay that he's been doing over the last year or so. R-Truth isn't happy with how The Miz cheated someone out of the tournament by switching the balls. And the name that he cheated out of being in the tournament is right here. Miz takes the ball and reads that the name was Joe Hendry. So obviously he read the name Joe Hendry, so he said his name, so he'll appear. And Miz seems pretty annoyed, but he turns around. Miz tries to fight both of them off, but gets beaten down by both of them. They do a 10-knuckle shuffle, and then Hendry hits the standing ovation, and R-Truth counts the quote-unquote pin to kind of end the segment. So good way to kind of feature Hendry, get R-Truth out there on John Cena's last show. And Miz has obviously been complaining about this for weeks, so you had a feeling he was going to pop up at some point. But then we go to our main event. Very controversial main event, very controversial finish and ending. But Gunther defeats John Cena via submission when Cena taps with a smile on his face in the sleeper, kind of signifying that he understands that his time is up, and he just couldn't shake the big bastard, the big Austrian bastard, off of his back any longer. So he does tap. I understand that some people weren't a huge fan of this, but like I said, I think it's kind of him signifying that, hey, I've done this for a long time. I've done my best to not give up, but I'm trapped, and it's time for me to go. So he taps out there. Whether you agree with it or not, I don't really care. But I think they made the right decision. They put over the new guy. Cena was never going to win this match. I don't think people would like it any bit more if he got pinned. I don't really think the people that hate it would love it if he passed out either. I think he basically said, "Hey, my time is up. Your time is now, and I'm gonna go home." And this guy has me beat. And he's the better man tonight. We then, after the match, we go to Cena. He's kind of laying on the mat. And Gunther soaks in the booing. Obviously, he's getting eviscerated because of the decision of the booking. Gunther then leaves. Cena gets up, kisses the mat, and says that he left it all out here for the people. The locker room then comes out, including CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, who come in and put the titles, both of their title belts, on Cena's shoulder. And everyone from the roster to production to agents and all that are surrounding the ring. Cena holds up both titles as he goes all around the ring. He eventually hugs Triple H, who obviously gets eviscerated with boos as well, because, it's his fault that John Cena probably chose for this to be the way that it was booked. So, yeah, it's all Triple H's fault all the time. We then see a video of Cena's career. We see some comments from his mom, who we don't often see. She was involved in this video package, which kind of brings a tear to his eye. We hear from various wrestlers, kind of like we have throughout the night, past and present, on what he's all about and how much he's meant to their careers. And we get some old comments from Vince McMahon is kind of shown throughout this. Obviously probably from an old DVD of some sort. And then when the video is over, Cena takes a bow on the ring, takes his shoes and his armbands off one last time, leaves them in the ring, walks out, gets to the entranceway, takes one last bow, does one more salute with the Marine salute one last time, and he is gone as an in-ring competitor. Forever, it seems. So we'll see if he, like most people in wrestling, break it. I don't envision that he will. I think he really is done. I think he'll obviously come back for these anniversary shows, take out whoever the new heel is at that point or something like that. But I really do think he is done. Maybe he'll be like some of the other old timers and come back for some Saudi money or something like that. But I really think for the most part, this is it. And I don't see him coming back. So none of the matches were just bangers, I would say. I would say that main event between Gunther and Cena was really good. Obviously, it's clouded with the crowd being assholes and booing and not liking the finish and all that kind of stuff. But I would go with that for best match of the night. They did throw bomb after bomb. Cena tried his best, doing all kinds of big moves, AAs off the top ropes, all that kind of stuff. So out of respect for the match, I would go with that one. But I think it really was the best match of the show as well. So a good way to, a sad way, obviously, to end the week. But I think he wouldn't have rather gone out any other way. So thank you, John Cena, for all that you did. We appreciate you in the wrestling industry, talking about you on podcasts and all that kind of stuff. The last year wasn't everything that it probably could have been, but I think once they realized where they kind of struck out in the beginning of the year, they course corrected and he had some really good bangers to kind of close the year. So again, thank you, John Cena. Thank everybody for listening to the CrosUp every week, and we will see you next time.